Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome. My name is Eric Taylor. I am the owner and chief forensic operator here at Baghead Cyber Solutions. And as you can tell in the description of X/Twitter about a new ransomware group called NoMatter. And the claim was that they were going to, or this execution ran, but never encrypted any files at all. And it was the weirdest payload ever. So I say we dig into it. Now, purposes, I haven't looked at this sample. Thankfully, a buddy of mine um, was able to give me the sample, and we are going to dig into this together. So, first, I'm going to put myself down in the description here. So, we are on my VM, and I'm going to go ahead and maximize this a little bit. This was the X post. So, this is what sparked up the whole situation, right? NoMatter Ransomware doesn't add any file extensions, is a claim by PC Risk. Changes the desktop wallpaper, ransom note, which is a readme.txt, which is pretty standard, right? The does not add any file extensions was definitely an interesting thing to me. Um, and looking at the images here, if it's going to let me do it, I'm probably just zoom in here. But you see the JPEG and the PowerPoint file there. Of course, it's not going to do it. But okay. So, pinged a couple of buddies of mine, and I was like, man, I really want this sample because I've never seen a true ransomware payload that actually deployed anything or ran an encryption without changing the file extension. So that was definitely a different situation. So, like, please, can somebody help me out? So we got the file extension, and before we go through and copy it over, let me actually just clean up some of this garbage. Yeah, just sort by name, whatever. So I just pulled some random files off the internet. So got a couple of PDFs here from Microsoft Security. Okay, we can verify PDF is working. Just do one more. Yep, so that's working. I think we got a couple of pictures in here. Yep, perfect. Yep. So we got pictures of just random stuff. Literally, I pulled off of Google. Nothing special. Kind of what your typical sandbox has, right? So I'm going to copy over our sample now, and literally, we're going to look at this thing together. Copy. Before, well, I can do this here. Paste it. Now, before I go down too much of a rabbit hole, we need to make sure Microsoft Defender is disabled because we're purposely detonating ransomware, ladies and gentlemen. All right, turn all this mess off. Go away. All right, boom. Show more options. 7-zip. Let's extract it. Default industry password is infected because that's what we do. All right. Now, we've had this question before. If you see it on here, does my Zoom? I don't know if I have it. I think no, I don't have it. I don't think. Okay. So a lot of times you'll see just a bunch of numbers and letters and everything. That a lot of times when we download these things from a item like Virus Total or a hybrid analysis, Joe's Sandbox, whatever the case is, it's going to cut the file that's downloaded is the hash of the file, right? So, and typically it will be in a bin folder. the reason this is given to us is that way we don't accidentally detonate anything on our network that we're not intending to do. Okay, so we see the icon has changed, which is perfect. Interesting. All right, before I just nuke this VM into orbit, let's load up our PE Studio and let's drop it in here and see what malware we could potentially determine this thing does. All right, so this thing's coming through. We've got, it came back with the virus total score, which is good. Got our footprinting. We got about 64 bytes in the header. We got some uh, binaries that it's importing. We got some .NET resources, some strings. Okay. Um, oh, interesting. So it actually gives us the original file name, which is good. The manifest, which is the .app. And we have the debug publisher file. Projects no matter old. That's weird. Does that mean this is not the final version that's potentially being pushed out? Hmm. I'm not sure why somebody would put no matter old right there. Does seem a little interesting to me. Okay. All right. So there are some people are picking this up as a Trojan, which is good because Trojan ransomware. Let's see how some of our favorites. So Bitdefender, ransomware, great. Let's see, Sentinel-1 in here. No detections by Sentinel-1, which is it may or may not have been ingested by Sentinel-1 yet. I'm not trying to throw them under the bus. Um, Trend Micro, I know a lot of our clients like to use that. Um, is WebRoot. Is WebRoot on here? Okay, nothing by WebRoot. Let's see, what else? Got Sentinel-1, the trend, did WebRoot. Yeah, Avast doesn't show anything. Of course, AVG. Silence, just unsafe. Oh, okay. You think potentially? Okay. Anyway, I digress. Um, so we have that. Let's see the file headers, the characters compiled January 13th. That's weird that it's got the 2103 year. Zoom in so y'all can see that. It's been a long time since I've seen malware have that advanced date in time like that. What .NET is it pulling? Header, no matter exe, signature, cryptology. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. So oh, that's an ugly. Try that again. So system security cryptography. So this is literally why there is next to never a public decryption tool for a lot of payloads, right? So there's educational mode. There are literally two sides of this thing where the ransomware payload people are generating the encryption key on their servers, or the payload generates the encryption key and then sends it off to the threat actor remotely. This one appears on the surface that is generating its ransomware key and then potentially sending it off. So that'll be something to take a look at. So anytime I see this, I'm like, okay, um, it's either one of two things. Resource. Wait, no, no way. Are we about to get a decryptor.exe pay, payload dropped? See this right here? Decryptor.exe. Is this a test sample? And this is interesting. Okay, hold on. So what I'm going to do at the moment is I'm going to drop this file actually into 7-zip. This is probably going to come back with garbage. Yeah, machine code. So I expected. Okay, a bunch of icons. Which, okay, whatever. What is 9? It goes back as a PNG image. Manifest. Okay, so when I open up the executable, the exe that we're seeing as a resource of decryptor.exe is not bundled in there. It could be in the machine code that we were looking at a moment ago. Okay. But there may be a chance that we are seeing a decryptor being populated as we go through this. This is why you always look at the data and see what we can be able to do. So there is a reconnaissance system metrics. Okay, not a big deal. Get file temp, read write. Okay. So we do have MITRE ATT T1106 execution through API, which is this is using the Windows API set use shell exec. Okay, so this is going to be a bigger lesson than I thought it was going to be when I started this. All right, so use shell execution. A lot of times this will jack up the workstation where you're not able to open up command prompt and stuff like that. But it's using shellcode to conduct its process. Another execution with the API. It's weird that it's getting get current process here as well. Okay. Well, no, I guess that's not really that big of a thing. It could be just tanking all the processes. Yeah, here we go. Create decryptor. It's in the section of text. Where are you? Everyone's administrator. Flag to no. I double click to jump to that. So it's supposed to be in this value here. Import.net. This is kind of where a lot of I get outside of my skis a little bit because I'm not real. I've always said it. If y'all ever watched me for a while, I never have claimed to ever be a reverse malware analyst by any means. But I do use tools like this to really dig into it and see kind of what we are dealing with from a conceptual standpoint. Okay. All right. I mean, so it looks like we may be getting a decryptor. Again, I don't see it in here. When we opened up the executable in 7-zip, we're not seeing it bundled in there, so that's fine. So what I'm also going to do is all of my VMs. So I have all of my template VM has sysmon that runs on it. I'm just trying to make sure. Let's see, okay, that's it. Again, this is live, ladies and gentlemen. All right, sysmon. Just make sure that's running. Okay, perfect. All right. I think I showcased the pictures. Yeah, we got pictures that open. Sorry, Kim, if you're having to double edit stuff out. Downloads we got, or is it in the document? Yeah, so we got several Microsoft security alerts that we downloaded. Again, these are just random stuff that I pulled off the internet of different images because we just try to populate these things when we detonate. Especially with this one because it did make the claim again that it does not modify file names. All right, here we go. Let's detonate the payload. Let's detonate the payload. Okay, yep, we see it running there. So she's just chunking away. Oh, I think we got a fibber here because the Tor browser has definitely been changed. But we're going to let the encryption method happen. Let it go through its course. See, there we go. So where did this file come from? Put that back over there. So we're going to check sysmon here in a moment. And I guess I can go and do that now since it's already here while we're waiting on this thing to finish loading. Oh, wow. You're seeing, I'm not sure you can be able to see that adequately, but all these icons are completely now jacked up down here at the bottom. So that claim that it doesn't modify files is complete garbage. All right, so we have the payload still running, but the backdrop wallpaper. Oops, looks like your files have been encrypted. Read the readme.txt on your desktop. Okay. Interesting. It actually says no even matter as a description. Interesting, interesting. Okay, while it's doing that, let me see if I can pull up a bit viewer. This one's actually going through and actually nuking the system pretty good. All right, so I want to find how did this decryptor, if I spelled that correctly, let me rename, copy. Let me make this bigger so I can see what's going on. Users forensics. Okay, so we're still dropping the decryptor payload in multiple folders. Why? That's an interesting situation. Program data decryptor. I wonder if the decryptor exe is a false flag. Dropped it in the root folder as well. And I'm not saying this is a decryptor either. All right, so we have a encryption completed successfully. 41,000 files were encrypted total time, blah, 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 milliseconds. To restore your files, read the readme.txt on your desktop. Okay, what does that say? And I'm not seeing that decryptor.exe being downloaded externally. That would have been an awesome find if it was downloading it from an external source. Oh, the system has failed to load or restore the files. Okay, so this actually be another good thing to talk about for a moment. A lot of times in a post ransomware incident, applications never run the way that they're supposed to, ever, ever, ever. So even when you try to load up README files and things of that nature, it just turns out to be complete garbage and it just never works. So let's get rid of that. This is terminal. Yep. See if okay, so terminal's not going to work. CMD. Okay, great. CMD works. Perfect. All right, let's go all the way back down to root. Too much Linux days. Okay, so cat readme.txt. Oh, so let's see what it says. If you're reading this, it means your important files have been encrypted. Yay! Actually, let's go test that. Can File Explorer load? Oh, that's not. That's Arsenal. Yeah, we are in. All right, so documents. Okay, so it's still a PDF. It's in a PDF form. Okay. What about our pictures? Okay, can't display the pictures either. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So we do, it actually does not change the file extensions. All right, so let's go back to here. If I delete the software, if you remove the software, interesting. Contact us, use the block containing your victim ID. Okay. All right, so unblock computer on Telegram. Begin victim ID. Fuel source score. You can view a few samples, send us a few sample encrypted files, and we'll show you their decrypted version. You can also view the full source code of the encryptor and decryptor using DNS-Spy or similar program. Do what? You can view the full source code of the encryptor and decryptor using DNS-Spy or a similar program. Nothing is hidden, everything is transparent. Interesting. As we load the decryptor. Okay. Let's see, did it? Find. Okay. As we downloaded the .zip. The pictures. Okay, so I'm not seeing it upload. This is a base 64. So I wonder. Yeah, let me reset. Actually, you know what? Desktop. Yeah, I've got that base 64 on Decode Me site. Let me shut down the VM and we'll snapshot it back. We'll dump out the payload, or we'll snapshot it back, copy the payload back over again, re-execute it, and see if we're getting the same base 64 format. All right, snapshot, revert. Not sponsored by VMware or Broadcom. least I know it's worked because these icons are back over here again. Let's see. Documents, got the PDFs here. Those open, fantastic. Pictures, thumbnails, pictures themselves open, fantastic. Let's go in here and shut off this while we're waiting on the vCenter client service to start up. Shut you off, shut you off, shut you off, shut you off. VMware Tools is running. Let's get our sample payload here again. Again, we'll rename this one from .bin, oops, to .exe. Yes, execute. There it goes, crunchy, 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 encrypting, 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 encrypting. Okay, so the README files here. I see that now. Of course, let's just open up PowerShell this time. It actually encrypted everything a lot faster that time. That's crazy. All right, so cat. Okay, so it is a different victim ID, right? Yeah, because the last one started with E Tango plus Golf 4 Bravo Oscar Yankee Yankee blah 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 blah. Okay. Um. So let's get into. Why am I not getting interesting? Huh. It's weird that's actually not bringing up the event viewer as the thing. Now we're going to start looking for system on event IDs number 3. And what that does is logs all the TCP and UDP connections on this VM. And after that, we'll kind of end the stream for now. But I'm going to be digging into this a little bit more. That everybody's going to get at least a kind of an idea of where a lot of this stuff starts at. Okay, so we do have some. All right, so OneDrive, 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 OneDrive service, OneDrive sync service. Run DLL. Why is run DLL32 brokering to this IP address? And you notice how it didn't change the icons down here this time? Even though it did. Oh, yeah, okay, be quiet. There's a trick to this. So in your web browser, if you ever get hit with ransomware, a lot of times you just come into your file explorer, just type this into Google, and Bob is your uncle. It brings up a web explorer. Web page cannot be found, but it did throw an SSL warning. Settings.microsoft.com. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. So yeah, no weird network connection. So why is it generating our victim IDs? It'll be something that I have to investigate a little bit further. Again, hopefully you had a chance to learn a little bit of something, kind of see how we do things. And we're getting new malware samples, and especially from threat actors. And hope you found this informative. If you did enjoy this in any part, please consider subscribing, share it out, let other people know that we just go talking about nerdy, geeky stuff over here. All right, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you next time.
There once was a kid whose passwords laid across all sites, they were the same. A criminal then found their fame by taking that data to go. Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go.